Hello, everyone. This is Akhil Bansal. I'm a US certified public accountant, and I'm running a remote US tax and accounting firm called USA Tax Gurus from both India and US. Today's video is gonna be for my Indian clientele who's been, trying to expand their businesses in the US. So today we will primarily discuss the benefits of opening a US LLC or a USC corporation if you are say an Indian business or a foreign business and want to expand into the US market, and what's the best way to do that. So I'm going to quickly share my screen and have a little presentation for you today. So to answer your question, why form a US LLC or a USC corporation? I know you all might already have Indian entities like private limited companies, LLPs, or even sole proprietorships, but now you're trying to expand your business in the US. So it'll become much more easier if you are gonna have a US bank account there. So that's one of the reasons why you should definitely open a US company. First of all, to get a US bank account. Think about today if you're doing business in India and say I am sitting in India and I take services from you, it's super easy for you to just ask for me to send you the money on Paytm or Google Pay just because you have an Indian bank account. So similarly, if you have clients in the US and if you are, running a US business, you definitely want to have a US bank account so it's easy for them to transfer money to your, US bank account. Every single time they're going to do wire transfers all the way, your US clients are going to do wire transfers all the way to India. That's going to be expensive for them, expensive for you. So this is the reason why you should definitely have a US bank account. And then with that, like we were discussing, there's no currency or conversion fees, associated with the transfers that are going to be done from the US clients directly into the US bank account. So by just opening a US LLC or a US C-Corp, by having a US bank account, you make it so much easier for your clients to pay you. You make it so much easier, to consolidate all the payments in the same bank. And then, if you want to remit that payment back to India, you can then do an between your Indian company and between your US company, you can do the transfer, right? So because say the Indian entity is providing all the services, then you can show it as cost of goods sold on the US entity, claim those expenses there, and then recognize revenue here in the US entity. Or if you're sending money to yourself, you can pay yourself as a salary from those companies, from the US company. So right, so rather than having the clients transfer money every single time, you can consolidate all the payments, make one big transfer, so that will save you on your exchange fees, currency fees, conversion fees, so all those things, right? So once you have a US bank account, it also lets you integrate that with US payment gateways like Stripe, PayPal. A lot of you might already be selling products in the US, so the value of having a credit card payment gateway, right? So it makes it easier for your customers to pay you. Today, like if you're doing any business, right, you want to make it easier for clients to do business with you. So be it payments, shipping products, whatever. So this, just having a US bank account can solve a lot of these problems. So yeah, you basically get access to US payment gateways as well. Another thing is if you don't really need that money in India, right? So you can keep that money in the US bank account. It doesn't have those rules. I know India has rules like RBI, which requires you, if you get money in US dollars, then within 24 hours you have to convert that into Indian rupees. So, but if you have a US company, then you can basically park your funds in the US itself. You don't need to bring all of those back to India. If you're going to be having expenses, say in US dollar, if you have to pay your vendors, if you have to pay your suppliers, you can directly pay that from the US company. It doesn't need to hit the Indian bank account. So there's no such rules as, converting from a US currency to an Indian currency, like within 24 hours if you have a US bank account and a US company. So again, saves you a lot on the conversion fees, currency fees, all those things. The next is obviously there's no US resident or citizenship requirement to open a US company. Again, US is one of the easiest places to do businesses in. For example, most of the other countries like Canada, India, they usually require a local person, for example, a person who is that particular country's resident citizen, to be a director or a shareholder in the company. But US doesn't have that requirement. You can form a one-person company, or you can open like a company with 10 shareholders in the US, and all of them can be non-resident aliens for US tax purposes, which means if you're an Indian resident, Indian citizen, you can open a company there by yourself. You don't even need a second partner. If you have an Indian entity, that Indian entity can own the US company as well. So again, there's no such requirement as having a US citizen or US resident as part of to give shareholding to, or to include as a director or a shareholder. So that's another big benefit of opening a company in the US. The next thing is confidence of the consumers, right? So if you have a US entity, you can pitch yourself as a US company, right? So it doesn't matter. Like a lot of companies have back offices in India. A lot of these companies are doing like outsourcing to India. So, but the front office can be in the US, right? So you can get a US business address, US bank account, advertise yourself as a US company to the US customers, provide all the US details to them. For example, your bank account. It's gonna increase the confidence of your US customers. Taxes. We're gonna have a different video about taxes, because that's an in-depth topic. But the tax rates in the US are lower as compared to in India, and then you can get many more advantages. For example, if you're a business which is providing services from India, we can form, say, a LLC. Services are, for example, accounting, bookkeeping, website development, coding, consulting services. If you're providing any of these, like from India or from any part of the world, but not when you're in the US, you can basically earn all of that income tax-free. So tax-free, like as in you don't have to pay any taxes in the US. You have to still file tax returns, but you don't have to pay taxes in the US. So again, there's tons of advantages of opening a business in the US. Lower tax rates, and then you can also get a US virtual business address. So like we were discussing, the confidence of the consumers are going to increase if you have a US office, registered office, an agent there. So we can help you arrange all these things. So if you need help opening a company in the US, expanding your business in the US, you can totally do that sitting in India. You don't have to have a US visa. You don't have to go to the US. You can do all of these things sitting in India. So if you want, you can contact us and we can help you set up the company, do a consultation with you, understand your business structure, and see, what should you open an LLC? Should you open a C-Corp? Which state you should open that? And, we can also help you get a bank account in the US, get an address there. So it's just easier for you to expand your business in the US. All right, so this is our contact number. If you're thinking about opening a company there or expanding your business in the US, you can definitely reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help. All right, that's pretty much it for this video. The next video is going to be a little bit more about the US. Should you open an LLC or a C-Corp, and the tax consequences around that. So the next one's going to be a little more technical. So hope you enjoyed this, and if you like the video, please subscribe to this channel, and we'll have more international tax stuff coming soon.